said you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Hi, I'm Gail Rubenstein, the founder and CEO of a company called Retail Resilient, social selling for the car industry. And we help auto dealers, auto agencies, and vendors in the auto industry sell more cars, service more cars, and make more money using our social selling strategy. That includes TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and anything else you can think of. So if you're looking to invest thousands and make millions, we're definitely the social selling company for you. Like I said, who said you can't teach an old dog new tricks?
If you run a service drive, you know these days first impressions matter. But when your advisors are tied up with inbound phone calls, they tend to neglect their other, more important duties. And did you know 75% of all service calls are frequently asked questions in routine requests? Still, the average dealer misses up to 30% of inbound calls, adding up to a ton of missed service opportunity and increased customer churn. 68% of callers actually go elsewhere if they can't get through, which means you could be losing $60,000 to $70,000 every month in service revenue simply from missing calls. So who will pick up? Introducing Brooke.
Hi there.
Your best service scheduling assistant. Brooke is the first intelligent digital voice assistant to answer, handle, and appoint all of your inbound service calls. Hiring Brooke means absolutely no call goes unanswered, boosting your customer satisfaction and reducing your overhead costs. And talking to Brooke is like talking to a friend, with human-level understanding and a friendly conversational voice. Her conversational intelligence is built on millions of actual service industry conversations, making her the easiest onboard you'll ever have. She can handle any volume of calls and follows your policies every step of the way, 24/7. That means even when the lights are off, Brooke is always on.
And I can do it without missing a beat.
You really do check all the boxes. Book with Brooke today. Visit Brooke.ai or call 866-942-1236. Finally, the perfect match.
See that light above the bathroom door over there? That's a big time saver for our technicians and other recon staff. The light goes on when the bathroom is occupied. Now techs keep working until the light goes out. Then they know for sure the room is empty. And when they're busy there, they're also catching up on the news. Not that news, but news they need for the job. I post these where they can't be missed. Too often, the search for the right product burns valuable time. This inexpensive detailer's cart organizes supplies. Now techs lay their hands on what they need without delay. We got these time savers from Rapid Recon, the reconditioning software company that's always defining better reconditioning solutions for dealerships like yours. When the goal is to get cars through recon in 72 hours or less, every step, every minute, every better decision made helps towards that goal. For more recon efficiency ideas like these, talk to the recon experts at rapidrecon.com.
Here, myself, I've got 30. I'll only cop 30 years in the business and retail, and everything from sales guy up to GM, etc. Ian's got 10 years in retail, so about another 10, 11 years in support from the vendor side of things, and looking like we're going to get started there. We're going to ask them a few questions. Hopefully, give you the information you need. We will be streaming. None of you will be on camera, so you don't have to sign a waiver or anything like that. And
to make one thing before we get started, you do have a good mix here of people that have dealt with and helped special finance people. Does anybody have any questions or anything we could address? Because we really, really appreciate you being here, and we want to make sure it's a really cool 30 minutes. Anybody having any specific thought, question, or problems? They're not. Okay, why don't we just stop and go get some pizza? Oh, we did. Yes, sir.
When we see all the time on programs and subprime 140% black book value, can you briefly explain what I see that all the time, I don't understand that.
I'll actually ask him, oh, sorry.
No, it's most lenders will, lend up to anywhere between 120 and 140% black book value. So if you have a vehicle that's black book valued at $20,000, well, they'll let you sell that car for 140% of that value, so $28,000.
But of retail?
No, of the wholesale value, and depending on the lender, depending on the bank, they'll have guidelines based on. They'll have different rate charts that, 2019 GMC Terrain might be worth $25,000, but if it gets mileage, it might be worth, it might be rough money, it might be worth $18,000. But some lenders will have different booking charts, so that, they'll give you up to 75,000 kilometers, and it'll still book extra clean. So you can use that number as opposed to the rough book value.
They're basically managing their risk. With dealers, with banks, they look at, first of all, what can the person afford, their debt-to-income ratio, how maxed are they on their credit cards, and then they flip it around on their side because it doesn't really make any sense for a bank to lend you this much money, and if God forbid they have to take the car back, it's bad. So they're trying to protect themselves, but still make money because they do want the loans.
They're just mitigating their own risk, really. They don't want to own a car after 6 months on a defaulted payment. They finance 200% of the value of the car.
Who other than the folks up here has been in the business 5, 6, 7 years? Has everybody been in a long time? So everybody's seen the same phenomenon that we've seen. The banks are a pain in the ass. You have the nicest person you ever met in your life. Somebody got sick. They're in desperate trouble, and it's almost like you want to co-sign them for the car. And the bank's like, nah, I don't think so. And then when things get a little lean, they come to you with gifts. It's like the three kings looking at Jesus. So what can we do to make money?
I take offense to that.
I disagree completely with that. The banks have, since I started in non-prime in 2001, the ability to get a less than perfect credit customer approved in an ethical, profitable way is, we've got a lot of opportunity out there with our lenders, and more new ones are coming up. And as we talk to them as dealers or your FSNs, as they talk back to the reps, word does go up when we need to see, and as much as possible without, they have to manage their risk, they have to run their business just like we have to run ours, but for the most part, if there's something that the lenders can do to book more deals for you, they will do it. And I don't know what your experience is on the retail side in terms of being able to pick up the phone and call and get some more assistance on a particular deal. But I was my days.
No, it's not. Yeah. We're actually going to be like your presentation. We don't need the mics for everybody to hear, do you? No, good. That's just for the show, and we're going live, Leanne?
Yep.
Now?
Yep.
Perfect. So this is now streaming on Facebook Live, etc. Unfortunately, it probably won't pick up your questions, but it will pick up ours. You picking up me?
Yeah, it should be good to go. That microphone's hot, so
okay.
Just so you know.
So, again, we're just starting here with the subprime panel. We have, because this is going live, we have to introduce everybody again. My apologies. So we have Leo Savoy, who is from where?
Purple Gene.
In Ottawa, Ontario. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. And I got to tell you, I just met Leo, who's got a tremendous reputation. Kim, on the other hand, has a magnificent reputation. We've had her on our show a few times, but when you consider, she talked yesterday, and she made a statement that when she started selling cars, and today's the Women in Auto Day, it's quite important. And I can't remember the words, and pardon me if I got it wrong, but the guy that hired her said, well, yeah, you can't sell any cars, but the guys are like looking at you. So, we've come a long, long way. And I mean, speaking of a long way, Kim's just come a heck of a long way and built herself up through numerous businesses and is not just, I think, a success story for a woman, but a success story for somebody in the car business. So, and then Larry Feldman is, you've already met. He's from Philadelphia. He's from Career Changers, hopefully Canada, USA. He's a trainer and including the subprime panel because, hey, there's nothing more important to subprime than the people that are handling it. And if people don't know how to handle it, that's quite the thing. So the first question that I have for you is, what's the biggest challenge today for dealers dealing with traditional subprime attitudes? Because, I can tell you this, when I was in the dealerships, subprime was, pardon me, they're roach. And they only went to subprime after they got turned down by new. And they shot everybody to new to the OEM lender, and they come back with a decline, then they go subprime. How's it changed, Kim?
At BikeSmart, what we do is we're attracting our own customers by way of credit education most of the time, personal brand influence. And so we're not seeing so much of the problems that the franchise dealers are seeing, because the customer's coming to us admitting right away that they have some credit challenges. They'd like to get pre-approved for an auto loan and then get matched to a vehicle that they can get approved for. That said, from the year's training, I think we just have to, as far as the franchise dealers go, get in on the ground floor with them and start preventing the problems before they happen. That's going to require good process, good training, and the ability to change, risk, grow, stretch, all these things that are uncomfortable, but I think we can do it a lot. That's why we partner with the dealers and basically do the work for them.
Great, thank you, Leo.
Yeah, just kind of couple what Kim said. It's the majority of this process. The amount of times I think that dealers that don't generally do subprime or non-prime, they don't have the process in place that's going to handle that customer properly. So having a customer go through the whole sales process of show up, meet, greet, qualify, pick a car, drive a car, negotiate a car, close on a payment, go into the finance office, turn on products, buy everything, and then find out they're not. That's right. So where you could have done that entirely backwards, which basically is still a process that says, would you like to be pre-approved for some financing, and that you get their true motivation as opposed to the end product, which they think is a car, but their motivation is the financing. So they get pre-approved, they sit with a finance person, he explains kind of the situation, he kind of works backwards in the sense of...
Excuse me, it's Women in Auto Day, sorry.
They sit back and kind of work with a specific budget, make sure it's realistic to what their vehicle needs and wants are, and then kind of work backwards. And there's, I think with the old mindset with non-prime, we don't want to do it. We don't, those people are, roaches or flakes, as you call them. It's probably the best opportunity to gross a deal. You can work backwards, you can structure your deal to be the best possible deal, and then chip away at it from there. So anybody who doesn't have this process in place is just missing the boat, really.
Thank you very much, Larry. I'm going to adapt this question for you a little bit because you're the people person here. How do you recommend that the people in the front line handle a customer? And a lot, somebody walks in and says, hey, I'm here to see that 2015 F-150. And how should the people meet them? How should that salesperson meet them and go through this process to keep them from going through the other way?
Sure. Well, Leo and Kim are 100% right as far as, like with everything else we do, to have some kind of process. But I think as important, no disrespect, or more important, is the attitude. How you approach people. Everybody in the business understands the profit that can be made with special finance, and that you're building a loyal person. And let's face it, you sell somebody a $1 million car, they go to the country club with a lot of people with $1 million cars. If you can help somebody with poor credit, not only are they grateful, but they usually wind up bringing their friends and family. I think it's all the attitude. I had a finance manager when I was a salesperson who was out of his mind. Everybody that came in with bad credit, and unfortunately where we were, it was just about everybody, he had the same answer. If it was a young person, he said, throw them out. Tell them we need $10,000 and a cosigner. I didn't throw anybody out. Because if you send somebody home and they say to their dad, hey, Dad, will you lend me $10,000 and cosign? For what? I don't know. I'd make them fall in love with the car. It's like everything else. If our attitude isn't good, if we don't embrace people, and listen, it's important to be nice and smile, but it's triple important to be nice and smile to somebody that's got bad credit, because they already feel bad and they're a little down. So I think if we can wed attitude with a strong process, we can work miracles. And that attitude, I still think, hasn't dimmed. People still prejudge, forget that, but there, but for the grace of God, go you right.
Thanks, Larry. Actually, I remember a dealer out where we're from, which is Vancouver, and big subprime dealer, but what they would do is they'd say to somebody, don't worry, we're going to treat you nice. We understand how you're at. And they'd walk over and they'd dump it in and they'd say, hey, that's the girl in the back. She's just going to stuff you into a car. See ya. And they'd walk away. So I want to ask you a question. How does a dealer, specifically a used car dealer, because, I mean, a lot of people here are used car dealers, or certainly new car dealers that have little different options, but how does any dealers choose their subprime lender? So I'm going to ask you that first, Leo.
Well, my opinion always is take any subprime lender that's willing to sign up with you in your dealership. So there's, as far as I know, we're upwards of 30 now that we have access to. So they deal with all different credit situations. You know, our focus is about reestablishing credit for a customer. So we don't want to. So any lender that might be out there that's small or big that doesn't report to the actual credit bureau on a monthly basis to report a well-paid auto loan, I wouldn't sign up with them. Anybody who has any lender who wants full recourse on a deal, so customer doesn't pay in 6 months or a year, and they decide they have to repo the car, well, they want full recourse. They're going to come back to the dealer to pay up the loan, which we don't want that either, unless of course it's in some type of a profit share scenario. Somebody who has a rep in the area that can help facilitate a deal, somebody you can call on the phone to help with the deal, help with interest rates, getting income verified. There's a lot of stuff involved, but for the most part, I'd say sign them all.
Great, thank you. And of course, now we're also going to be looking at, we're all seeing a little bit of change going on right now. We've got inflation. I won't say the other tag word, it'll upset Ian. We've got all sorts of things, got interest rates going up. So there will be people coming up that are, as this other dealer said, very good people that things just went wrong on. So that's a big deal in choosing lenders. Kim, your position on this?
I agree. The more tools you have in your toolbox, the better off you're going to be. You can always make the decision about what lender you're going to use for what particular customer, and that's probably the most important thing to note when you're trying to maintain good relationships with your lenders is having your staff be able to read and understand credit bureaus. And I always say, if you don't know if the lender will do it, review the cheat sheet. We put a cheat sheet together for our team so they can look across and go, okay, 2 repos, no. 1 repo, yes. 2 bankruptcies, no. My minimum income requirements for this bank, and know where they need to go. And make sure that they're smart about getting their customers the best possible approval they can get for their customers. So if it's good for my customer, I want the tool on hand. Did you ask something about rates? The rates going up? I think? No? That's for next question.
No, that wasn't the question. It was just a comment I made. And actually, the one thing, until Kim said that, did you notice she didn't say the word rate? Because it's the best possible situation. That's something I always preach. Just met her when we're here, but we've had her on the show, but, we think alike. Now, Larry, from your position, we know Larry's outspoken, but how would somebody go on a personal level of choosing a lender?
They're both absolutely right. You jumped up and said something, so you might be a banker or a lender.
That's correct.
That's awesome, because anybody that's involved enough to listen to the dealer and say, here's the parameters, because most times if you follow the dealer parameters and the lender parameters, it's easy. Here's what we need, here's what we want, and I've been on both ends of this. Man, they always give you what you don't want. The pay stub doesn't match up. It doesn't fit. The car doesn't book out the right way. So again, same thing, attitude and process. You want to have as many lenders as possible. You want to try to pass the business around to keep them engaged. But yeah, you're both right. You're both right. I got a little depressed sitting next to Kim with the triple bankruptcies and repos. I think my score is lower since I'm sitting there.
Hey, it's gone up. She helps people improve their credit. Ian.
Might be driving home in a different
Ian's
car.
sitting there just off. He's been the tech guy. I've been the looks.
Yeah, we always like to ask on every show, welcome everybody, that words of wisdom for people, obviously in the subprime, whether it's a dealership, whether it's helping dealerships or customers, any words of wisdom on that. So let's start with Larry since we're next.
Sure. Again, I'm kind of repeating myself. These are good people. They've had some problems. They care. And they're really a little tired of getting beat up. So when they run into a Kim, when they run into a Leo, and when I was selling, when they ran into me, I took care of them. If I may, you said earlier, how do you approach people? My approach was simple. If you want to steal it or use it or alter it, I never said to anybody, how's your credit? Or what kind of money do you have down? first of all, if their credit's great, they're offended that you asked them. And if their credit's bad, they immediately think another person is going to kick me on the ribs. My entry was always, after a few minutes of building rapport, boy, do we have great programs this month. I'd love to see you take advantage of them. Credit pretty good. You're not negative, you're not squeezing. If they say the credit's terrible, no problem. We work with everybody, build rapport for a few more minutes, and then roll into that. But it's just the same thing. Think about how you are. Everybody in this room, if God forbid our credit went bad and we needed help, would we want somebody to abuse us? And I'm not talking about making money. That's capitalism. I'm all for that. But there's a way to treat people with respect and help them. Last thing, and I'll shut up. I used to work with guys that were insane. They would brag about jamming somebody, quote, I stuck his ass in the car. Well, every time the guy gets in the car he doesn't like, he's going to curse you out and the car wreck. Let's treat these people not as annoyances, but annuities, and try to make them as many deals as possible.
Thanks, Doug.
No problem.
So here's the deal. In 2016, 40% of all the deals that went through DealerTrack were to non-prime lenders. In 2022, it would be ridiculous to think that non-prime has not overtaken the prime business. If you're a dealer in prime right now in a franchise store, what I say is more than ever, you need to be listening to the customer when they walk, click, or walk in your dealership, click into your website, or call on the phone. Our staff simply, introduces themselves in a polite manner and says, and asks the question, what is most important to you in the process that we go through in the next steps? Is it the brand and the features? Is it your trade value? Is it your budget? And I think what you'll find if you try this out is that probably 8 out of 10 customers say my budget. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have bad credit. But then the next question is, do you know what budget is that I need to be respectful of? I want to pay $500 a month. No problem. In order to reverse engineer the deal and make sure I show you vehicles that match your desired budget, what I'm going to ask you next is, do you know what interest rate you qualify for? Now, most people think that interest rates go with dealerships. They don't go with dealerships, and then you have an opportunity to educate quickly. So then the customer's fully engaged. Now they like you and trust you because you're being frank and honest. And the rest is a math equation. Let's take out we can build the relationship with the customer without having to talk and beat them down about their credit. They'll simply say, I don't know what I qualify for. Well, the great news is most people today get pre-approved just like they do when they go and buy a home. They get pre-approved for an auto loan, and then I can present you with vehicles that match your desired budget. How does that sound? Oh, that sounds like a great idea, Kim. Now you're staying within price. If your vehicles are all priced, which they should be in my opinion, prime, non-prime, and every other credit in between should pay the exact same price for the vehicle, which I believe is full retail because we all deserve to make money and have a great life. But nobody deserves to be put in a situation where they're some of these unethical practices that I believe are long gone, certainly in Canada with most of our dealers. So that would be my little tip. Get it in the beginning before it's a problem. Don't try to get your declines approved, prevent them from happening.
Well, so I agree with most everything they say, but it's kind of like I had this, like every franchise dealer or used car dealer that doesn't necessarily do any sort of non-prime or special finance, we like to call it, because the trick is to find out their motivation. If the motivation is finance, they could still be a prime customer. So we try to, so basically anybody can just flip on a switch with their current staff. You don't have to open up this whole new department and hire all these different people that know subprime. You could just kind of tweak your marketing for the messaging to be more geared towards finance. People will like to get a pre-approved. They land on they land on your site, your landing page that says get pre-approved. They click it. You've now converted that person from a car buyer to a finance buyer. And so that's the first way that you can identify what their motivation is. When you get call-ins or walk-ins, it's a simple process, and everything here is just simply processed. So you can have your salespeople trained to just ask, are you financing or are you paying cash? And 90% of people are financing, or they're borrowing money from their own bank to pay cash. But if they're financing, it's like, well, would you like to have a quick 2-minute pre-approval? It doesn't cost you anything. It takes 2 minutes, and you'll find out exactly what you're approved for: interest rates, payments, budgets, whatever you want to talk about. And then they go through the kind of just a different sales process, like I said earlier, where you're now discussing budget and vehicle needs and wants before they're actually looking at cars. So it's not rocket science. It's really just tweaking a little bit of messaging in your marketing and the initial process. So the way Larry said it, earlier on, you kind of ask, how's the credit? Well, it's a simple question as how's your credit is, do you want to get pre-approved? People that have perfect credit ratings will say, I don't need that. Let's go look at some cars and then you're good. The people that aren't sure or aren't 100% sure, they'll say, sure, let me do the pre-approval. And it's really that simple. So.
Terrific.
And I met a guy at this conference too, named Cole with a K, Auto Corp A1, and the only reason it caught my eye is he has a way of doing a soft pull where they're not getting run 92 times. So I don't know the guy, he's not paying anything, I'm not pitching him, but anything that'll give us some kind of idea as to what credit looks like can't hurt if it doesn't hurt the customer, because again, I've been doing this a long time and I've seen unscrupulous dealers who could care less if you live or die, and they don't run your credit once, they shotgun it to 20 banks, and now you're dead just from there. That's all, just figured I'd mention it.
Well, thanks for those opinions. We were slated to end at noon, and anybody need to leave, please do. If it's okay with you, we'll run for a few more minutes. We got a late start, and we'll blame the other guys, but that's okay. Tell me something. So, Kim, all of you been in subprime for a little while, like, 22, 23 years, 5 years because you're so young, right?
No, I'm 15 years, but I've worked on both ends of it. I've worked in a franchise dealer that we did have a subprime kind of process instilled. So it was very successful. #1 Suzuki dealer in Canada before Suzuki pulled out of Canada.
Well, yeah, for sure.
After you talk, you got to pass the mic. Just say.
I will pass the mic. Sorry. But what is the biggest change you've seen in the last 2 years? Because I don't know, something happened in the last 2 years. I have no idea what it was, but there's a little bit of a shift. So, what's the biggest change you've seen, Leo? And then we'll pass it to Kim, because obviously I don't pass the mic over. And then Larry, of course.
Inventory. It's all been inventory. So, the price of cars have gone through the roof. So if we're talking just subprime, the ability to find inventory for clients that have a elevated interest rate and a small budget is almost impossible. So the days back, more than 2 years ago, a client can come in, they can have a reasonable budget, $400 to $500 a month, and have less than perfect credit, qualify for an interest rate between 20 and 25%. Well, we can find them a $10,000 to $12,000 car, still mark it up some, still have some aftermarket products involved in there, and then they'd still have a reasonable payment that's comfortable. Not anymore. That car almost doesn't exist. We're looking at 12 model-year-old cars that are $10,000 now.
You mean you can't finance a 2005?
Funny enough, there are some lenders out there, actually. That's why I say sign them all up. We just financed a 2007 GMC Sierra, 285,000 kilometers. So it's out there, but it's not normal. So all I'm saying, what's changed the most is the inventory. Obviously interest rates are going up. Lenders are all taking, I don't want to say advantage of it, but they're moving their interest rates up as well. So we got higher prices, higher rates, lower incomes. It's changed.
Sure, I can see that. Kim.
So one of the neat things that I discovered during the COVID phase was that people were really enjoying, people like staff or salespeople, finance managers were really enjoying the ability to be able to work from home, have some flexibility of time. And what we've discovered was that it's possible to do that. I call them boss babes that work for me. They work very similar to like mortgage brokers or real estate agents, and they're able to work their leads. They're able to come and go from the office. They're able to control their own incomes. They all have personal brands, and so that's been a really neat thing. Because I believe that's going to be a problem. If we want to find good people, we're going to have to start letting them have a life. The old school thought of You got to be here and work bell to bell, or it's not going to work, isn't going to fly, especially if you want to attract and keep career sales and finance managers that can work their own deals front to back. And being a woman in auto, I started in '96, and since 2001 in the non-prime world, and thank God my husband is an elementary school principal, and he takes care of our son most of the time when I'm running around the world and doing not the world, running around and doing my thing. But certainly auto was never conducive as a woman for family and all that good stuff. So I think that's one of the awesome things that has come out of COVID. I think that if we look at things differently and provide more opportunity, that we're going to find that the opportunity to attract and keep career people is there. And the other thing around inventory was we had to look at it from a different point of view. I had made a partnership in a dealership and then realized, oh crap, BuySmart needs to never be a dealership, because when we partner with other dealerships, then they can benefit from when we sell their car, and they can send us leads and vice versa. So a cooperative way of doing business and helping each other grow, I think has been a really positive thing that has spun out of the last couple of years. So
Super. And by the way, you don't have to pay for inventory.
yes, I mean, we do have inventory, but yes, we get way more than we can use others.
Inventory and what Kim said, let me just address them briefly. With inventory, I've always trained salespeople to always ask for business. Always. There's certain states in the United States where you can't write a referral check or a bird dog check. But man, where I lived and the people that came in from New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, I don't know anybody that doesn't want $100 or $150 for sending in a customer. Rich people drive their Bentleys across town to save 3 cents on a kilometer of gas. So everybody wants it. So let's expand that mentality and ask every customer and everybody we know, hey, what are you driving? Because you wouldn't believe the money we're paying. Because if the salespeople themselves help with inventory, just like if they help us get customers in, the wheels turn. Kim's 100% right. We've gone online a lot. And I caution everybody to make sure we retain the humanity. I'm the least tech-savvy person in this room, I'm pretty sure. Some of you are wizards. But I bet every one of you, even the best, hate it when you have to do a phone prompt and talk to 9 different people and then they hang up on you. So let's just make sure, if we are forced to be more online, just the vagaries of the way things are going, that we're human, that we're friendly. Just like with BDCs, they got to hear you smiling over the phone. So let's try to work to internally increase our inventory, and let's make sure we keep our attitude up. Because if you notice with both of them, they're both really good business people, but it comes down to taking care of their customers and smiling. If they were grumpy, this would be a whole different kind of presentation. I mean, he's a little grumpy. Look at it. It changes all the time.
Yeah. Actually, I don't have my Repo Man sunglasses on, so I thank you, everybody. Questions, because as we started, there seemed to be a bunch of questions. We have the gentleman here from the lending side of things going, he's going to go shoot Larry after, but that's okay. Anybody got questions for anybody here?
Oh, and Jeff, just before you do that, there's a little...
I'm going to say that at the very end, because I know if I say the word lunch, everybody's going to leave.
Oh, okay, no worries.
So,
it's like a very bad marriage.
There's no lunch.
They bicker constantly. I don't think there's any sex. It's terrible. Kim said that, not me.
Exactly. Anybody got any questions?
I'll try.
Sure.
With regards to retail, what are some hidden markets or unknown markets that a lender may be able to service your customers?
So for our people online who wouldn't have heard that, the gentleman said, where are you from, by the way?
Rivco.
Rivco. The gentleman from Rivco has asked that, pardon me, I forgot already
What hidden market or unknown market can a lender serve your customers in?
Terrific. So he said, what hidden market or unknown market can a lender serve their customers on? And Kim's reacting. She's sitting there going, I got it. You're, oh. So I'm going to ask you, Kim, today.
I'm actually thinking hard. That's a tough one because there are so many, like I say, there's so many lenders out there now, and pretty much maybe you have a different opinion, but pretty much every area seems to be covered. I hesitate to say, because of the inventory situation we're in, that it would be nicer to see more flexibility in years of vehicles, but that also creates another problem in the opposite direction. But Yeah, I don't know. We'll leave it with that.
Well,
Big enough to say.
You know, I'm assuming the question, what's your name, sorry?
Greg.
Greg, I'm assuming the question is more directed, you know, to see if there's anything that you guys can capture, but, you know, and I say this all the time, I always try to carry some type of a decent relationship with all of my different lenders and banks. And, you know, I know every lender kind of has their niche, and then they also branch off to try to capture a little bit more of the market. So I always say, you know, if you need more business or you want more business, it's try to work with the dealers a little bit better in terms of funding processes and income verification times and credit adjudication times. Those types of things will definitely enhance your ability to get more deals type thing. In terms of a market that you can hit, Kim hit it, it's tough. There's literally a lender for everybody. We got triple repo, double repos, triple bankos. We've got a lender for everybody. You know, their sole income is child tax credit. You know, they take it. You know, we have somebody for everybody. So it's definitely a different time. Back, you know, I've been doing this a while, and so we went through the times of 2008, 2009, when all the lenders took off, and we were down to three, four lenders in the market, and you know, they picked and choose what they wanted to buy, but now there's so much competition. There's literally somebody for everybody. So I didn't really answer your question, but you know, work with us a little bit better, and we'll send you more deals.
And just to add to that, sorry, I'm kind of stealing here for a second, but it just came to mind that there's a particular lender we do a lot of business with, and it's because of the rep on the other end of the phone. When they don't give us the absolute best approval, unless it's off by more than 1 or 2 points, which in that case I have to go another direction because it is a better approval for my customer overall, but usually they compete and they'll do something, even if it makes it just easier for the customer in some way, so that they win that deal. So that communication is so important.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
So I got you there, Harry. I'm just a sec. I know, considering Larry comes from the East Coast of the U.S., they got guys that'll do anything for any price. I had to do it. I'm sorry. Larry, is there anything you can suggest here, even though this isn't your market?
Absolutely, positively. I'll flip it on its head, if you'll allow me, Greg.
Please.
I just did 2 training sessions in different parts of Florida, and I'm a pretty good trainer. We're very enthusiastic, and the owners, I always say, hey, throw a couple of your guys in that are already there. Figure it's a good advertisement for me. They'll come back and say, hey, I learned some stuff. And I always ask them the same question. Well, what can we do to get more business? Well, everybody in the room knows the first thing I ask them. When was the last time you were in your service department? For what? My car's fine. Okay, stupid. How about the other people's whose cars aren't fine? So you seem like a really cool guy. Get your butt into the dealerships. Now, don't send somebody in that doesn't really know and is just bringing cookies. Go in yourself, sit down and say, listen, boy, do we like to lend out our money. What can we do? Because that's the real key. I don't care how well she's running, he's running, I'm running, we're all running, we miss stuff. And anybody, it's like dealers that tell you what their up count is. They're lying. They don't know, because if the up count is inaccurate on lot, it's never going to be right in the computer. Go there, sit with them, because she's right. If the rep is cool, if he's involved, or she, and they make it easy, it gets easy. Staples has it right, Amazon has it right. Make it easier for people. So if you go in there and solve it, last thing, warranty. I know you're not a warranty guy, but everybody in this room in the car business has had a warranty problem, and you get a guy on the phone or a lady on the phone, and they go, I'll handle that, don't worry. And you go, now I don't have to sweat with the customer. So if you go yourself, you look very personable, you'll find hidden business. I really think, despite what everybody says, it's right there in front of you. Because nobody's doing 100% of what they're supposed to be doing. It's an impossible goal to shoot for. Agree, Greg?
I agree.
Cool. We'll talk later.
Absolutely.
So I would be remiss, and I feel very bad if any of you missed lunch. The Women in Auto Luncheon is downstairs at the front in that room, and hopefully the hotel's got food. I know Harry had a question. I wanted to thank, if anybody gets up and leaves, thank you for spending your time. Thank you for the patience. You know, it's always a challenge to get anything set up. Harry, your comment was?
This is really for Greg, as a lender. What are you going to look at in a year or 2 years from now when you've over advanced on these used cars to special to special size.
Thank you for
people.
coming, Jim.
And
And
you're
lady,
upside
thank you
down
very
when
much.
tow these cars back.
So you're anticipating the prices to drop?
It's good, we all know it's gonna happen.
Correct. And then based on that, how is that going to affect the lender? So how are we gonna react to that? So it's funny, because that was kind of the question going into this price increase was, do we increase the LTVs to match it? Because the valuation is far behind and lagging. So, what I would, yeah, no problem.
I would appreciate that.
So what I would say to that is that this is a problem that's coming down the line, and to be honest with you, there really isn't any solution any lenders looking at it. We're all in the same boat in this way. The only thing they can do is really look at mitigating risk and other factors. But because of how competitive the market is, most of the times these lenders are taking on more risk where they should be mitigating. So it's really about buying the right customer and understanding what you are buying, because that's going to be a problem if you bought the wrong customer, if you decided to put your money on the wrong horse. So
I don't know if you're a big lender or a small lender, but we all know what the big banks do when there's an issue. They run for the hills. I've been in the industry since 1980. I came in the industry when the prime rate was 19%. I've gone through the crash in 7 and 8, and the banks all run.
Absolutely. Listen, that happens in any market. I've seen Wells Fargo leave. I have seen many other lenders leave within after 2008, like Leo was saying, after 2012, after the oil crash, and it leaves dealers with no money. How many times have I heard, why is it taking you 3 weeks to send me funds? And that is always a red light flashing at you when you see that. So, when you're working with lenders, you have to keep that in mind. That is maybe a potential that's there. So, Leo and Kim were both saying, a lot of new lenders have come in to take on spaces that otherwise other lenders have not been taking on. And I've seen that as well, but it gives me worry and pause because I've seen, again, smaller lenders come into play and exit the market, leaving a trail of destruction. So working with lenders, yes, you have to understand how established they are for that to happen. With Rivco, we were one of the 4 lenders that Leo was talking about that existed past 2008. We've actually been in business for 20 years. So for us, we're not going away anytime soon.
You're used to the cycles.
Absolutely.
How regularly do you visit your dealers and let them know, remind them of this stability and that you've been here? That's a selling point.
Every day.
Okay, cool.
I got an answer for that one as well. Just a little tidbit on top of that.
Please. Microphone.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. There you go. So, thank you. Well, in terms of the risk and mitigating it and everything you're talking about, for the prime lenders, the big banks, the RBCs of the world, they got lots of money, and they have teams and teams of people that are just evaluating how much risk they're getting into. It's the other lenders, the non-prime lenders, that might not have the same cash flow or don't have the same cash flow. So, but they're not necessarily in it for the long haul. I don't know the actual stat, but I think a lot of non-prime loans will generally get discharged with between 12 and 36 months, let's say. So, the values of cars, it took almost 2 years after COVID hit for them to actually catch up to what they really were. And so I don't see, it's not going to be an overnight change with the car values just dropping through the floor. It's going to take time, and especially where, everybody thinks it's leveling off. It's not. The values are still going up. So the lenders like Rivco, you might know the number, but the amount of time that a loan is actually, it stays with you. It's probably, I'm assuming it's at 12 to 36 months.
Yes.
So they might be only looking at a year and a half of actual risk on a car that's not worth what the customer owes on it. And they've already been doing this for years anyway. Negative equity is not something that's new. So.
We're going away.
Yeah, it's not going away.
I wanted to thank everybody very much. We do have a time limit here. We don't have Joe from Cherokee giving us a look here. Thank you for staying. Nice to see you all. And thank you especially, Leo, Kim, you came in for this. Larry, drove all the way from Philadelphia yesterday, and we appreciate that time. They even let him through this time, by the way. Last time
Greg said he was going to finance the trip. We're going to talk right after.
Yeah, no problem
Kim's
at all.
going to get me pre-approved.
No problem at all. Ian, I'll leave it to you to close, even though you were the behind-the-scenes guy.
Thanks for your patience with the technology. We had about 5 minutes to set up. Usually it takes 20, but it's all good. And if you're interested in past shows, we've been doing the show for almost 3 years. Go to AutoHubShow.com or wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. And we'd love to have you on the show. And of course, thanks for listening. Have a great day. And
Thank you.